magic that had depth, that had absolute, it was riveting, and it's based, of course, on a Brothers Grimm story.
The drama surrounding Disney's Snow White remake, starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, has become one of the most significant controversies in modern film discourse. A perfect storm of political tension, generational divide, cultural criticism, and corporate recalibration. What was supposed to be a glittering reimagining of Disney's first and most iconic animated feature from 1937 spiraled into a highly publicized, multi-layered crisis that raised difficult questions about representation, storytelling, celebrity conduct, and even global conflict. With the film set for a March 21, 2025 release, its path to theaters has been less a fairy tale and more a public relations battlefield. From the very beginning, the casting of Rachel Zegler in the titular role drew immediate attention. Zegler, a young actress of Colombian descent, broke barriers by becoming the first Latina Snow White. While this move was celebrated by many who advocate for broader representation in media, it also prompted a predictable wave of backlash from traditionalist and right-wing corners of the internet. Conservative pundits, including Ben Shapiro, criticized the casting choice as performative and inconsistent with the original folklore. Shapiro's video on the subject garnered over 700,000 views, a testament to how polarizing the topic had become. The controversy quickly moved beyond race, as critics of the remake accused Disney of bending to woke politics rather than respecting the original spirit. However, Zegler herself unintentionally became the eye of the storm. Rather than simply defending her casting, she took an aggressive stance in multiple interviews, criticizing the 1937 version of Snow White for its weird focus on romance. She called the prince a stalker and dismissed the idea of true love as dated. Instead, she described her version of Snow White as a strong, independent leader, aiming to become the leader she knows she can be. These remarks went viral on platforms like TikTok, where users mocked her comments and questioned her respect for the source material. While some supported Zegler's modern take, many others saw it as an unnecessary rewriting of a cherished classic. Zegler's comments not only set off social media firestorms, but also inadvertently turned her into a divisive cultural figure. Some young audiences saw her as a girl boss figure, updating a regressive narrative. Others, across age groups, felt she was belittling the role and the original film. NBC News reported on TikTok reactions ranging from humorous memes to more pointed critiques, arguing that not every female character has to be a symbol of empowerment to have value. In the process, what should have been a celebration of a new kind of princess turned into an ideological flashpoint. The broader question then emerged: should Snow White even be remade in 2025? For many critics, the very concept of redoing this specific fairy tale, one built around 7 dwarfs, a wicked stepmother, and a romantic awakening, felt outdated and difficult to modernize without losing its essence. One of the loudest voices in this conversation was Peter Dinklage, the Emmy-winning actor best known for Game of Thrones. In a 2022 episode of Marc Maron's WTF podcast, Dinklage tore into the project, calling it a f***ing backward story about 7 dwarfs living in a cave. He wondered aloud if his own advocacy for fair representation of little people had been ignored. Disney responded quickly, announcing it would take a different approach and had consulted with the dwarfism community during the film's development. That different approach, however, opened a new chapter of controversy. Instead of casting actors with dwarfism, Disney opted for computer-generated characters representing the 7 companions. While this may have been done to avoid stereotypes, many in the dwarfism community saw it as a cop-out. Dylan Postal, better known as WWE's Hornswoggle and a vocal actor with dwarfism, expressed frustration in an interview with Piers Morgan. He pointed out that roles like the dwarfs in Snow White are among the few major opportunities for actors of his stature. "You're not just removing one opportunity," he said, "you're removing 7. This sentiment echoed widely, with advocates accusing Disney of being more concerned about avoiding backlash than fostering inclusivity. Just as the studio was trying to recover from that round of criticism, geopolitical tensions added fuel to the fire. In October 2023, the Israel-Hamas conflict reignited, and with it, the political affiliations of the film's two lead actresses came into public view. Gal Gadot, a former Israel Defense Forces soldier, became an outspoken advocate for Israel during the war, calling on world leaders to act and speaking at multiple events, including a keynote at the Anti-Defamation League in March 2025. She didn't hold back, condemning those who justified the October 7th attacks and criticizing global silence. Her remarks earned her both support and condemnation. On the opposite side of the spectrum, Rachel Zegler described herself as pro-Palestine. After a trailer for Snow White dropped in August 2024, Zegler tweeted, "Always remember, Free Palestine," alongside a thank you message to fans. The post quickly went viral, and not in the way Disney likely hoped. While some saw it as an act of courage, others viewed it as ill-timed or politically inappropriate in the context of promoting a fantasy film. The political tension between Zegler and Gadot came to a head during a March 18, 2025 event on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Gadot was being honored with a star, but the celebration was disrupted by both pro-Palestine and pro-Israel demonstrators. The two groups clashed verbally, waving signs and chanting slogans. Though the protest was relatively small, about 24 people in each camp, the presence of opposing demonstrations at a Hollywood event underscored how polarizing Snow White had become. By this point, Disney had adopted full damage control mode. The premiere, scheduled for March 15th, was scaled down dramatically. Only photographers and house crew were allowed to attend, with a near-total blackout on press access. The goal was clear: limit opportunities for reporters to ask uncomfortable questions about race, politics, dwarfism, and the personal beliefs of the film's stars. It was a stunning shift for a company that usually stages elaborate, star-studded premieres to generate buzz. But this time, the buzz was toxic. Behind the scenes, industry insiders described mounting tension between Zegler and the studio. Reports swirled that she was frustrated with how Disney had distanced itself from her politically charged remarks, while Disney execs worried that giving her a public platform risked more controversy. Meanwhile, Gadot kept a lower profile, but continued to issue firm public statements about her pro-Israel stance, generating heated debates every time she spoke. Yet, despite everything, the two stars did appear together on stage at the Academy Awards on March 2, 2025, to present the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. Observers watched their interaction closely. Body language experts weighed in, and social media was flooded with theories about whether their smiles were genuine or forced. Still, both women are expected to attend the premiere, where the tension will likely be palpable and heavily scrutinized. In the wake of all this, what should have been a celebration of Disney's first and most legendary animated film has turned into something else entirely: a referendum on identity politics, performative corporate diversity, political activism, and the limits of legacy. And beyond the politics, fans still remain skeptical about the film's quality. The few preview screenings that occurred were reportedly met with lukewarm responses. Complaints ranged from Zegler's wooden performance to the film's CGI-heavy visuals and an overall lack of emotional resonance. Critics suggested that, in trying so hard to make the story modern, Disney had drained it of its magic. The box office predictions for Snow White remain grim. After the Snow White trailer underperformed on YouTube and the film was memed relentlessly on platforms like TikTok and X, formerly Twitter, early projections dropped sharply. Analysts now suggest it could open under $50 million. Disastrous for a film of its scale and pedigree. Worse, its controversy-fatigued marketing campaign may have turned off both traditional Disney fans. And will you be watching Snow White when it hits theaters, or skipping it entirely? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the world of film, entertainment politics, and cultural commentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. We've got more coming. This is just the beginning.